I feel like several times I've seen you just randomly DJing on set in between takes. You'll have your little setup and you're just in there DJing. The music ability and having a way to understand music at that level, right, comes into play. And I know we did a live stream, and I wish we could have had you on it. It was like a last minute send that we did, but we did a live stream with everyone that was a part of the Justin Bieber music video series, Changes. And you had a huge role in that. And one thing that we were talking about with Nick, who directed it, he was talking about your ability and love for music. So did Andrew Sandler, and how that came into play. And it really helps dial in a steady operator who can understand rhythm.
Oh, it totally plays a part. The DJ thing and music production. So especially when it comes to choreography, because, and I'm thinking about two things. I'm thinking about the choreography, but I'm also thinking about what an editor is going to do. Now, if it's a one-take video, there's no editor, but I think about that in scenarios where I know that this footage is going to be cut. So what I do with the choreography is I basically memorize the moves, and most choreography is done in sections of 8 counts. So 5, 6, 7, 8, and then you go into the next 8 count. So I break it down and I actually count the music as I'm operating. So I know exactly where those transition points are going to be. So like we'll be on, we started it up with a couple. We did in this video for Justin Bieber, we did a full 360. I think that was either 2 or 4 8 counts all the way around. We come out, we pick up another couple. There's an 8 count. That 8 count, the next 8 count brings us to another scenario. So I'm literally counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then make my transitions when the dancers do. So understanding music and understanding the way that it is written, the structure of it helps a lot. And especially, and this is something I would recommend for any Steadicam operators who are listening, gimbal operators, anybody that's doing camera music to the timing of the music, count it out in your head. Don't just get lost in the sound, but actually find your downbeat for the 8 count, count it out, and then anticipate where your transitions will be. So it's either a transition in the choreography and I stay on that angle like a oneer, or if it's like, I know that editors like to cut on the downbeats and the upbeats. So like if I start like a big sweeping shot where I'm like doing like a push in like this, like I'll back up and I'll be ready to go on 7, and I'll actually start the move on 8, so that because I know that editors don't like to cut on a still frame.
Right.
They like to cut when it's already moving.
Yeah.
So I start moving on the count number 7. We get to 8, I'm up to full speed, and by the time 1 hits, my frame is perfect. I'll even give myself a few extra feet, like 5 or 6 extra feet as I'm about to do my push in, and I'll start that move so that when the downbeat hits, that's where the editor would cut.
Yeah.
So I just anticipate things like that.
Well, it's crazy too, how, when you really think about it, how much you have to be considering as the operator, how much you're considering from other roles. You have to think of what the director really, really wants. You have to think of what the artist is going to really, really want. You're thinking from the editor standpoint, because I know you do all these other roles. You do them at high volume, seeing editors who maybe don't think like that, and now they're cutting when you're not moving, or maybe you did a push and you started pulling back before that count was over, and they leave that shit in. That drives me the most insane when I see people. Yeah. So, do you ever try to give feedback to the editors on that stuff?
I have tried in the past. I find that it doesn't really do that much good.
Yeah.
They're going to cut it the way they're going to cut it, and they're going to look at it totally differently. Like, for example, the cuts with Nick, there were a few moments in some of the videos for Justin Bieber where I was thinking to myself, oh God, I hope they don't use that moment. Like as I'm operating, I'm like, oh shit, I dipped below the eye line just a little bit. I chopped the head off too far. It went to the eyebrows and it should have stayed up here.
Right.
And then Nick uses that shot because he's looking at something totally different than I'm looking at. He's looking at dancing because he's a dancer and he's a choreographer. And he's going to look for things that are totally different than me.
That's so funny.
But I learned to not be attached to the outcome. I learned to just know that that's just part of it, and just embrace it.
Thanks for listening to this clip. Make sure to listen to the full interview, which is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and wherever else you listen to podcasts. Hit the subscribe button for more highlights and join our Black with No Cream private community for creators. Links in the description.